Ah, that's why there's no sound. All right, fix that. Okay, we're almost there. Like I said, I have been fighting a headache like most of the day, and so like I am very discombobulated for the moment because I still have a headache, but I didn't go live yesterday, so I'm going live today. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Where is my phone stand? Uh-oh. It's behind my desk. That's always fun. And I was charging my phone, and my office is very dark. There we go. Okay. Got my phone stand. Got my phone. Huh. Angle's wrong now. Hi. There we go. That's better. Whoop, I messed up my other camera. There we go. Ta-da! So much better. Now all I need is our book, which I put somewhere. Where did I put it? I think it fell down on my shelf, so. Did I just drop it? I did. Hang on. It fell. There we go. Okay. We have our book. There. Ta-da. We're good. It took me like 5 minutes to get all set up. I'm so tired. I took a nap. I got off of work and I told Mando Dad that I have a headache and my body hurts and I am not cooking tonight. And so he's like, "What do you want for dinner?" And I was like, "I'm not even hungry, so whatever you want is perfectly fine with me." And so, as usual, Mando Dad picked, my hair is just not wanting to cooperate. My millennial side part. So Mando Dad picked Chick-a-Leg. Shocker. Yeah. So the kids had Chick-fil-A, and I took a nap. But Mando Dad did ask me if I wanted anything, and I wanted a drink, so. And some grilled nuggets, which I had. That's all I had. I had like a 6-piece grilled nugget and a Sunjoy. Oh, yeah, I also did that today. Only twice though. I did not I did not digest my lunch. Hey King. So yeah, I definitely I had a not great day too. Which is okay this week because my boss is out, so I'm still trying to get stuff done. That way, so when she comes back, I'm not like yelled at a bunch of times. But anyway, there's Luna. Yeah, you're like, I know it's gonna come. I know I'm gonna have it. Yeah, it's. I don't know what the vibes are off, man. The vibes are off. I cannot put my finger on it, but the vibes right now are off. See, there's my leftovers from lunch that I didn't digest. I need to reorganize this shelf behind me. Yeah. Nope, now it's up too high. The vibes are off. I don't know what it is, but the vibes are off. Maybe that's a good thing? I'm part of the 4 a.m. club. Maybe it's related to that. I can be hopeful, right? I can be hopeful that it's related to the 4 a.m. club. You guys know what the 4 a.m. club is? So the 4 a.m. club, if you don't know, is this phenomenon that happened on November 5th, November 6th, 2024, right? You know, that day that we found out that everything sucked. But it's called the 4 a.m. one because, like, there's this phenomenon that happened at 4 a.m. on that day where a collective amount of people just woke up, just knowing, like, you could feel it in your chest that something was wrong and that the bad thing that we didn't want to happen had happened. So, like, but it was like I woke up. When I'm asleep, like, if I fall asleep, I'm dead to the world. I am asleep. I do not wake up in the middle of the night. Hey, Thentali. So I don't wake up. I don't wake up in the middle of the night. But at 3 a.m., some people it's 4 a.m., some people it's 3 a.m. And I woke up at 3 a.m. just out of a dead sleep, and I just knew. Like, I could feel it. I could feel it in my bones that it had happened, that it was not great. Like, it was there. And the more weird part of that is that Mini Mando woke up at the exact same time, crying. Now, again, Mini Mando is not prone to nightmares. Mini Mando is like me. Once she's asleep, she's asleep. She is dead to the world. She is she could sleep through a car crash. I have slept through car crashes. Like, I have been involved in I was not driving, by the way. I did not sleep, not like that. But I was like a kid in the backseat of my parents' car. My mom was in a car accident, and I slept through the car accident. Like, they had to wake me up to get me out of the car, because I was like, what? So, but Mini Mando also woke up at 3 a.m. crying. So, like, it was just a weird, I mean, it's weird. Like, that to me, like, brings on the whole, like, was it some sort of psychic crazy happening or something? Like, the way my head feels right now, it's not, it's, it's like what happens before, like, a thunderstorm. It feels like that. It feels like that kind of headache, which we're not getting thunderstorms. Like, that's not really like a thing that's gonna happen in the near future. So it's weird. I don't know what's going on. I'm hoping that Epistemic is right. I don't know if you guys follow Epistemic Crisis. I'm hoping Epistemic is correct. He says 48 hours. I'd be okay with that. But I don't know. Maybe it's just the vibes. Like I said, my head hurts. It just, thank you. I don't know what's going on. Is it sad that I'm hopeful? I don't like to be hopeful. I had hope once. I don't think I've been sleeping well. I don't know. The vibes are off. I need some white girl with a nose ring to tell me what planet is making me sad. Although the usual answer of that is Earth. The planet is Earth. That's the planet that's making me sad. We had another dimension shift? Are you having that pain now, Silver? I don't know what's happening. Things just fell off. Hang on, what fell off? Has anything good ever happened because of that? Oh, things feel off. Yeah, things just feel off. I mean, the other problem, like, for me, like, and I'm sure King can attest to this too, is that the area that we live does not help if you have a general anxiety disorder and know that the things that are going on in the world are going on in the world, because we live within, like, spitting distance of a bunch of different air bases. And so, like, not 10 minutes ago, I heard a fighter jet over my house, like I do, and normally it doesn't bother me at all, but, like, lately it's just like, is this it? Is that it? Like, is this the thing? Is this finally it? Do I send what? Do I send the I love you text now? Like, it's so... The light side prevailed tonight? What do you mean the light side prevailed tonight? What do you mean the light side prevailed tonight? What? It's not the thing, is it? It's not it. Oh, yes, in Virginia. Yes. I was like, I thought this was it. I thought this was it. Was this isn't it? Good news question mark. But anyway, living where we lived. King, did you help? Did you help make sure that Spanberger's bill passed? What do you mean you were stuck at work? You work from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night? Disappointed. So disappointed, man. No, I was hoping, when you said that the light side won, I was hoping that it meant that it happened, but it did not happen, so... Ugh. Never mind. You got my hopes up there. I got really excited. So excited. But it passed, so that's the good thing. So Virginia will be redistricted, and Democrats will get more seats. Which I think, because there's not really time for them or any... I don't think there's any more time to redistrict anybody else between now and November. So I wonder how many... Texas picked up, what, 4 seats? Which is funny, though, because it said that Texas picked up 4 seats. That whole, like, redistricting that Texas did to pick up 4 seats. But then, because of the way that they did it to pick up those 4 seats, it turned, like, 5 other seats into actual contestable districts. Right? So, it's like they cut off their nose to spite their face. They took safe districts to then make these other districts contestable. So we might, probably not, but there's a possibility that actually it will flip these other 5 seats. So they went after 4 seats, but then 5 red seats will flip blue. And California's passed, so I think they picked up 10 seats, 7 seats, something like that they're probably going to flip. And Virginia flipped 10 or something. So what? They can flip like 5 or 6 of them. So I think that this whole fight that started about redistricting all of these states to pick up seats that Texas started will now flip. Has now flipped like, I think they got +4, but they might lose 5, so then they're gonna go +1 blue, maybe. Texas is very 50-50 at this point, but those other districts were California picked up 10, so that would make +11, and then 6 districts are gonna flip in Virginia, so 17. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, so flipping 5, or I think it was like 5 or 6 that are going to be flipped in Virginia. So that'll be nice. That'll be like +17. I think it's coming. I think it's coming, because things are not getting better. Objectively, they're getting worse, but they're not getting better. 6 red, 5 blue, now 10 blue. So, did he announce his campaign? But yeah, the vibes are definitely off. Something feels off. And like I said, this headache is this headache is, it feels like what happens before we get a thunderstorm. But we're not in, the pressure isn't off. The barometric pressure isn't weird like it normally, like it's the quick change of barometric pressure that causes these kinds of headaches for me. And that hasn't happened. So I don't know why my head hurts. Is Mercury in the microwave? Hang on, let's see. All right. I know I'm a bad person. I'm asking Claude. Is Mercury in retrograde? Yeah, but it doesn't feel like that right now. This is Montreal's year. Vive la Roi. Roy? Ra. Ra. Vive la Ra. 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 Moi. Ra. Ra. I can't speak French. My mouth doesn't move like that. Do you know Bonk Stormy as a short story? No, I didn't know that. All right. The gang's all here, I think, so we will read. But yeah, I don't know why. It feels like the pressure has changed, but I don't. There's no. It's a pressure headache, but the pressure isn't there, so I don't know why I have this headache. And I haven't taken anything for it because it takes forever for me to absorb it. So by the time that it actually, like, the one big issue that I have with being on a GLP-1 is that if I have a headache, by the time that the ibuprofen actually absorbs into my bloodstream, the headache is gone because of how slowly my digestive system runs from the GLP-1. And I would say, oh, you know what? I took my shot yesterday. No, it says no, Mercury is not in retrograde. It was in retrograde from February 26th to March 20th. There was a shadow period extending through April 9th. The next retrograde will be June 29th. What astrological things are happening right now? Here we go. Okay. Here's what the astrological stuff that says that is going on for April 21st, which I'm thinking of getting my nose pierced. So then we could totally then I can be the white girl with a nose ring to tell you what planets are making you sad. The answer is usually Earth, which it's fun because I text my one friend who does have a nose ring, and I'm always like, so I'm supposed to ask a white girl with a nose ring what planet is making me sad, and she just always responds with Earth. The planet is Earth. No, I didn't expect serious Thentali. I didn't know that Thentali can be serious. All right. So here's what's going on astrologically today, April 21st, 2026. Yeah, we are the problem. The moon. The moon is in Gemini until about 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, after which it moves into Cancer. The moon is waxing, is in its crescent phase, following a new moon in Aries on the 17th. I have no idea what any of that means, but apparently it's important. With the Gemini moon this morning, there's a craving for mental stimulation, variety, and adaptability. Once the Cancer moon kicks in this afternoon, the energy shifts toward connecting with the past, intuition, and being more protective and resourceful. The sun. The sun is in Taurus until May 20th. It's Taurus season, grounded, sensual, slow, and steady energy. Venus and Uranus. Venus is forming a conjunction with Uranus in just 2 days. But today they form a parallel which can bring spontaneous meetings, unpredictability, or sudden forward movement. This is one of the more exciting aspects of the week. Venus-Uranus conjunctions tend to shake up love and finances in surprising ways. I don't mind I don't want to shake up my love life or my finances life. I'm good. Don't need to do that. Jupiter. Jupiter is currently in Cancer and will remain there until June 30th, 2026. Jupiter in Cancer is generally considered a favorable placement associated with nurturing home, family, and emotional abundance. Retrogrades. There are no major retrogrades right now, a relatively rare and welcome window of forward momentum. So overall, it's a pretty calm but energetically interesting day with Venus-Uranus conjunction building and the moon shifting from chatty Gemini into cozy Cancer this afternoon. You'd think Scorpio would be a hot summer sign, not transition from fall to winter. No, I can't because I have a preteen in my house, Belle, and if I say it the other way, she gets all giggly and I don't like it. Hang on. What astrological things happen tomorrow? Hang on, let's go look at our astrology for tomorrow and then we'll read. That way so we can make sure that we're, Oh my! Apparently tomorrow is a big astrological day. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna read the moon. The moon is in Cancer all day with no void moon period, and it's still waxing in its crescent phase. A first quarter moon will occur tomorrow. No, this is a good thing. Alright. Venus conjunct Uranus, the big one, April 23rd. Now, yes, maybe tomorrow will be Yub Nub Day, but I'm thinking this because Epistemic said 48 hours today, or yesterday. He said 48 hours yesterday, which means that would make tomorrow, according to Epistemic, the day. So I'm going to read this. Venus conjunct with Uranus, the big one, April 23rd. April 23rd could bring shocking news or excitement around pleasure, beauty, or relationships with Venus conjunct Uranus. This is actually a historically significant conjunction. It's the last time Venus will conjunct Uranus in Taurus in our lifetimes, because Uranus will then move into Gemini and spends about 7 to 8 years in each sign. They are serious times. Oh, yes. The transit brings change and excitement with love, money, or... Oh, never mind. No. The transit brings change and excitement with love, money, or both. Your increased need for stimulation can lead to sudden changes, or you may be subject to unexpected changes around you. Keeping an open mind and remaining flexible is critical to bringing out the best in this aspect. So according to this, April 23rd is a good astrological day that could bring shocking news or exciting news. Maybe I'll stop for champagne on the way from bringing the kids back from the bus stop. Maybe. Venus enters Gemini. Venus also leaves Taurus and enters Gemini on April 23rd. Venus is connection and beauty, receptivity, and worth. And Gemini is communication and sharing. You know, exciting news And then an entire planetary thing about communication? Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm getting very excited. I know that tomorrow is not going to be the day because I feel like if I get excited about it, then it's not going to happen. So I'm not going to be excited about it. But apparently Venus enters Gemini means Gemini is communication, sharing, curiosity, and learning. As they come together, something within us desires to expand. Don't get too hyped. I know, because I'll be very disappointed. No retrogrades. There are still no major retrogrades, so the energy of tomorrow's big Venus-Uranus conjunction has room to move freely. All in all, tomorrow is one of the more energetically charged days of the month, especially around love, money, and unexpected connections. The Venus and Uranus conjunction in particular is a once-in-a-generation event worth paying attention to. She doesn't... Well, remember, she, sneaks off from... she just kind of joins the party of the rebel. We made this whole thing back when we went to go see Return of the Jedi in theaters a couple years ago. So, Jen is on Endor when the second Death Star explodes, and she just kind of, sneaks away. She just kind of is like, oh, I guess I'm out of a job now. They're having a party. I'm gonna go join the party. So she just kind of, abandons her job and is like, okay, they didn't even pay that well anyway. Bye. And, goes and joins the party. And I've never made the sketch, but my friend and I came up with this joke that Jen is invited to the Ewok party, or she just shows up at the Ewok party. And an Ewok offers her food and goes, and she goes, wait, what's that? Oh, it's General So's? Oh, I used to know a General So. He worked... Uh-oh. And she just puts her food down. Because obviously the Ewoks have no problem with eating humans. We forget that. But you have to remember, they tried to roast Han and Luke on a spit. And then at the end of the movie, you see them using helmets as drums. What happened to the... What happened to the people that were in the thing? That's right. It's weird. So, they have lots of helmets. They are carnivores. Yes. So, but yeah, that's how... So, Jen... I mean, we all know that Jen survives the second Death Star. And then... There's also, this whole running joke is that eventually Moff Gideon finds her and recruits her to, get his little base online again. Which somehow gets Jen back into working for the Empire instead of the New Republic. And she is extremely upset when she discovers that Thrawn has returned. Because you know that Jen doesn't like Thrawn. So, I mean, she's got a whole lore attached to, what happens after the fall of the Empire and everything like that. I love how I've created an entire lore about a fake character. A fake character has lore. Alright. I know you guys aren't here to hear me talk about astrology. I don't have a nose ring, so what would that possibly be that is real? But, shall we read? Chapter 53. Is there a ghost? Excuse me. What in the name of... From behind her desk, Siddiqui Blur was watching the holoscreens that showed the events down in the cargo hold. The CLL load lifter pivoting on its gyros and thundering into the wall. Status report. What's going on down there? Next to her, 3D didn't respond. The droid had been trying in vain to communicate with the CLL unit for the last 5 minutes, and its silence was not reassuring. My apologies, Warden. 3D withdrew its adapter from the wall console. I'm afraid the load lifter's motivator has been manually compromised, so manually compromised somehow. I cannot access it from here. What do you mean, manually compromised? Someone rewired it on site. It's absurd! Cursing aloud, Siddiqui looked at the screen. The crushed remains of the I cannot talk tonight. The crushed remains of the decapitated and trampled Vesto Slifer were sprawled across the floor, almost unrecognizable. She had no idea what the Mune had been doing down there, nor did she particularly care. The sight of his corpse elicited nothing more profound in her than a headache. But it was one more headache that she was going to have to deal with, at the worst possible time. She glanced at the chrono display. What's the ETA on the incoming prisoner barge? The purge is due to arrive within 30 minutes, 3D told her. You've confirmed that? Captain Styrene made contact when the vessel first came out of hyperspace. I haven't heard from them since then. 30 minutes? Siddiqui stood with her hands gripping either side of the desk and remained there, perfectly motionless for the moment. Why does reading always make me sleepy? Allowing herself to take stock of the situation. By themselves, a malfunctioning droid and the untimely death of the IBC representative weren't catastrophic. But given what was at stake, she sensed the hand of something far more dangerous behind it. And why had Dakarai disappeared? Where was her brother when she needed his counsel the most? Warden, 3D said, I have the Gaming Commissioner Chloris on the line. Shall I have him leave a message? Yes. She stopped and reconsidered. No. Wait, put him through. Chloris's face appeared on the screen directly in front of her. He didn't wait for her salutation. Siddiqui, what is going on over there? Ah, thank you, Assad. Commissioner, she smiled, finding it surprisingly easy to do. You're looking well. Chloris held up his hand to stop her. You're operating in direct violation of the Commission's orders to shut down your gambling operation. Now I'm getting reports of ongoing hostility between inmates and guards. I wasn't aware that penal reform fell under the aegis of the Gaming Commission, she said. Don't do this, Siddiqui. Don't put me in this position. On the contrary, Commissioner. Siddiqui's voice changed, darkening ever so slightly, her eyes never leaving his image on the screen. It's you who put me into this position. Long ago. I fail to see... I didn't want to bring this up, but you've left me no choice. She tapped a series of commands into the holo console, and a new series of images superimposed themselves over the display on the monitor. Do you recognize this place? For a moment, Chloris didn't answer. Of course. It's the Outlander Casino and Resort on Coruscant. Where we first met, Siddiqui said, as the next series of images came up. Remember this? Now Chloris's entire face went blank with shock as he stared at the surveillance photos. Where did you get these? It doesn't matter. What matters is what the board members would have to say about a respected commissioner finding himself with a young, highly impressionable casino manor in what you'll have to admit is a very compromising position. She leaned forward slightly. Can you see the images clearly? I can increase the bandwidth if you prefer. There are some very good shots of... Those photos prove nothing. You're right, Siddiqui said. Perhaps I should just forward them to the commission and let them draw their own conclusions. She waited for a moment. Unless you have another suggestion? Enough. Chloris' shoulders sagged. What is it that you want? Ah, Siddiqui nodded. Now we're making progress. Here's how it's going to work. As soon as we finish this conversation, you're going to reverse your ruling against my operation, reinstating Coghive 7's rights and privileges as a gaming facility under the Commission's regulations, making it fully operational, effective immediately. I couldn't possibly. And, she cut in, I want you to contact your friend Lars Winnick at the IBC and come up with a plausible explanation for the unexpected disappearance of one of their field agents. What? His name is Vesto Slifer. I'll send the specifics along directly. How you manage it does not concern me, as long as I'm not subjected to any more of these degrading spot audits. Siddiqui. Chloris reached up to clutch the collar of his tunic, struggling to loosen it. You grossly overestimate my scope of influence in these matters. And you, Dragomir, grossly underestimate the amount of damage that those surveillance photos could inflict on your career, she said. You've done great things for the Commission and the relationship between gambling communities. You've driven galactic revenue to new heights. A man like you might be senator one day. And after that, who knows? She let the words sink in, knowing they would saturate his colossal ego. Do you really want to throw all that away over some cheap tryst with a casino manager? Cloris gazed at her. A faintly gleaming mustache of sweat had broken out across his upper lip, and his eyes looked raw and rimmed with red. Finally, he shook his head. I forgot how obstinate you've become when you want something. Don't forget that, Siddiqui told him, and before he could answer, she pressed the button to break off the transmission. She heard 3D approaching her with a refill for her coffee. Well done, the droid observed, if I may say so. Child's play. She held out the cup, allowing him to fill it. Where's inmate 11240? 3D turned to her, not understanding. Excuse me? Clear the monitors. Show me all the tunnels and lifts leading away from the cargo bay. Roll the feedback 5 minutes. Do it now. The holoscreens flickered and changed, displaying a dozen different walkways, every possible exit from the cargo bay. Siddiqui took her time, examining each screen individually, using the time to consider what had just happened. She didn't want to confront Cloris with the surveillance photos, not because she didn't want to humiliate him. The man's reputation, like a towering vanity, had none too secret political ambitions, could not have mattered to her less. But because the photos represented the last and most potent form of leverage that she had over the Gaming Commission, every predatory instinct within her had wanted to hold on to the images until they could be exploited for maximum value. Now they were out, and... She froze, her thoughts breaking off as she caught sight of something on one of her screens. An odd bluish blur in the corner of one of the turbolifts. From here it looked like nothing more than a visual aberration, like the ripple of a slightly discolored heat from an exhaust vent. Except there were no such vents in the lift. And the ripple shifted noticeably. Siddiqui leaned closer, staring at the image. There was something inside the lift. Something that didn't want to be seen. She hit the alarm. Chapter 54. Hot Box. The lift stopped, and Maul knew he'd been caught. He glanced down at the blue witch in his hand and then dropped it with disgust, letting it hit the floor with a clink. It rolled to the corner and lay there spluttering feebly for a moment before finally dying out. It served him right for trusting the Mune's gadget for an instant longer than he had to. He never should have taken the lift back up from the cargo bay. Now he was trapped in here. For an instant he imagined Slifer's severed head lying in the corner laughing at him. No matter. Such thoughts were useless to him now. He glanced up at the ceiling a meter above his head, and then the walls around him, instinctively taking stock of any possible way out. Suddenly the lift itself felt very small, more like a cage, or a coffin. Bracing his hands on one smooth wall and his legs on the other, he lifted himself upward and began to climb his way to the ceiling. It was a slow process, but there was a maintenance hatch up there, in all likelihood bolted shut from the outside. He didn't know if he'd be able to get it open without losing his grip on the walls. Even if he did... Very impressive, a woman's voice said from the speaker inside the lift. A voice that Maul recognized immediately as belonging to Siddiqui Blur. Of course, at this point, I should have expected nothing less from Cog Hive 7's most celebrated inmate. Ignoring her, Maul crawled another meter upward, keeping his arms and legs and shoulders rigid to hold himself in position. At this angle, the only way to get the hatch open would be to slam his head against it. There's no sense in trying to get out that way, the warden's voice said. The lift is industrial grade, durasteel reinforced from the outside. We use it to transport our more imposing inmates, like the Wampa you fought. It's got some very interesting features from my perspective, at least. Something clicked and began to hum inside the walls. Even if you manage to escape, there's nothing inside the shaft to hold on to, which means you'll die in there, either slowly or quickly, depending on how ambitious you are. Maul said nothing. Still determined to injure yourself? She chuckled. Here, let me help you. The lift jerked upward, then plunged. Maul slammed face first into the ceiling as it dropped straight down. It halted, and he hit the floor hard. Sprawled on his back with the walls spinning around him, he reflectively shot out his arms and legs to begin to stabilize himself for the next move. But the lift began to rise smoothly upward again, as if nothing had disturbed its passage. I'd like to make you a proposition, Siddiqui's voice purred. As you may have guessed, we don't get many inmates like you here. In fact, you're arguably one of a kind. So in the spirit of entrepreneurial enterprise, I'd like to do the only thing that makes any sense. Maul glared at the speaker. Kill yourself and save the universe the trouble? Not quite, she laughed. I'd like to offer you a job. My answer is no. You haven't heard my terms. It doesn't matter. His expression remained unchanged. I prefer death. At least do yourself the courtesy of admitting you're curious, she said. You seem almost supernaturally adept at isolating and exploiting the weaknesses of your opponents under the most adverse of circumstances. So, she paused long enough for Maul to wonder if he was supposed to be hanging on her every word. This is what I propose. You come to work here in the executive level of Cog Hive 7, where you will report directly to me. There are certain aspects of our operation here you might find very illuminating. What aspects? Maul asked. Before I get into the details, I would expect an oath of absolute loyalty, Siddiqui told him. Of course, you'll enjoy complete autonomy, stay here in a luxury suite, and receive a generous salary that reflects exactly how valuable you truly are to this operation. Who knows? Something eased in her voice, a note of bemusement that Maul could actually hear. I cannot read tonight, though he couldn't see her face. You may even discover what you've been searching for all along. What do you say? You're forgetting one thing, Maul said, bracing himself against the wall opposite the speaker. What's that? This place where you live. Yes? It's still a prison. Pumping one leg straight out, he drove his heel into the speaker and smashed it to pieces, strangling the warden's voice off into a fuzzy, digitized warble, and then silence. The speaker itself popped loose from a housing, dangling down on a tangle of multicolored wiring. Seconds later, the lift stopped again. He'd expected nothing less. Having not received the answer she wanted, the warden was going to make him hurt. Apparently, she wasn't ready to trigger the charges implanted in his heart, but she wasn't going to let him get away, either. Working quickly, Maul yanked the dislodged speaker, planting from its wires, paused just long enough to inspect the beveled edge, and decided that it would have to suffice, and began the slow, creeping process back up toward the hatchway at the top of the lift. Halfway up, he noticed it. Around him, the Durasteel walls were starting to get hot. We're getting there. I might read 4 days this week instead of 3. I don't have D&D on Friday, which is sad. I still want more D&D. It's really fun. I used to, with my old D&D group, I was like, ugh, every week is just too much. Ugh, because I really didn't like it. I just really wasn't in tune with the group as I am now. So maybe we'll read 4 days this week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I feel. I feel like if it happens tomorrow, I will go live. Just saying. I will go live tomorrow if it happens. When it happens. Even though I probably will be working. I don't think it'll happen. But maybe. Never know. He's very old and very sick, and if even the Queen of England could go, we can only hope. What was it? Oh, even Mini Mando's like waiting. But she was kind of funny because I said something today. I was like, "Oh, good news," and she went, "Did he croak?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Aw, man." Well, what's the good news then instead? You're so tempted to browse TikTok right now? Why? It hasn't happened. I can tell you it has not happened. You know, I know it hasn't happened because I would have like 8 phone calls from my cousins to tell me that it happened. Yes, I did. The crows and the bees. Did you hear about the bees? There's bees, too. There's like a swarm of bees. I agree with the Pope. I think God does not hear the prayers of people who wage war. Oh, we're all hoping that in the United States that soon the regime, the empire will fall. We're all hoping for the empire to fall. Yeah, the crow taking down the flag was really cool. But they've had like a swarm of crows. And I think like back in November of last year, there was like a swarm of crows on the Capitol building or something like that. The clock is ticking. That's really what it is. The clock is ticking. And I'm not scared of who is Palpatine's second in command? Blue guy with the horns, whose name escapes me at the moment. What was his name? Masamita. I'm not scared of Masamita. I'm really not. He doesn't scare me. Because people are like, oh, but he's a nationalist and he's gonna do... No, he won't. No, he can't. And you know how I know... This game is stressful. She agrees with the Pope. I am... To be fair, Belle, I am kind of Catholic. Sort of. In a roundabout way. I'm Catholic. Like I said, it's kind of like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon separation of being Catholic, but apparently I'm registered with the Archdiocese of Richmond, so that technically makes me still Catholic. Because when I got married, because Mando Dad is Catholic, I converted to Catholicism, and both of our children were baptized in the Catholic Church. But I do not regularly attend Catholic Church. I'm a Catholic convert, technically. I converted, I'm registered with the Archdiocese of Richmond, and whatever. Technically, I'm still living in sin, because we never got our marriage, like, recognized by the Catholic Church, because we were married in the Catholic Church, but, yeah, technically I am Catholic. But I regularly attend a Baptist church, which is a very progressive Baptist church. Otherwise I wouldn't attend it. I searched long and hard, because one of the things I will say this. I grew up in the evangelical church. I have a lot of religious trauma from it. But when I walked away from the church, I walked away from the church. I didn't walk away from my faith. I still had that, but I walked away from the organized church. And I've found my way back in, but it's much different than it was. Like I said, I attend a very progressive church. So... But I am not afraid of Masamita because they will eat each other. When Palpatine is gone, just like what happened in the Empire, the remnants of the Empire, when Palpatine died, all of the remaining admirals and moffs and governors and that weren't immediately overthrown were fighting for control. Right? Masamita fighting for control. But Masamita was a weak leader. He really didn't have, like, he didn't have the hearts and minds of the people. And things under the Empire had kind of gotten bad enough that the people were obviously overthrowing the Empire, as we see at the end of Return of the Jedi. But Masamita just didn't quite have the charisma to maintain the Empire after the death of Palpatine. And in the same vein, a lot of the remaining higher-ups in the Galactic Empire fought amongst themselves over who was going to be in charge now. And they just kind of, like, ate each other. They so much infighting, vying for power, that they lost all their power because they were so busy fighting each other that they just kind of dissolved themselves. I would agree with you, Thantali. Like, so many churches have forgotten. They've forgotten the point. They lost the plot. So that and we're already kind of starting to see it. It's not overly pronounced, because one of the things that you have to remember, and this is one of the I often hear is like, why don't more members of the Galactic Senate go against Palpatine? Here's the thing that you have to remember about Palpatine. Palpatine and his family are in direct control of the funding of the Empire. The Empire National Convention, the Imperial National Convention, is basically owned and operated, funded, whatever, by Palpatine and Palpatine's family. And the Imperial National Convention is what determines what funding you get for your campaigns over what you get as personal donations. So, in order for them to be able to continue receiving funding for their campaigns from the INC, they have to play ball. That's why you don't see a lot of them. And that's why the ones that are retiring will come out and talk badly against Palpatine, right? Because they don't have to worry about re-election. They don't have to worry about receiving funding for their campaigns. They're walking away. That is why a lot of the members of the Galactic Senate do not speak out against Palpatine. It follow the money. Isn't it sad that every generation of Christians think they will see revelations? Yes. It's been that way for a long time. So, but the thing is that once Palpatine is gone, they will all be fighting to be emperor. Like, they all want to be the singular person controlling everything. And so I think they will be so busy trying to fight each other that they'll just be pushed to the side. That's my prediction. We have to make it to the end of Palpatine's reign, but in general, I think that's what we're gonna see. Because we see that in similar power structures. A good example of this was like the Bolshevik uprising, and like what happened in Russia. What's the line from Has Been Hotel? Nature abhors a power vacuum. Leaves room for you and me. The future of hell belongs to the V's. So that's what we're gonna see. Again, that's my prediction based on like my knowledge of history and my knowledge of political science. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna see. That's what I hope we see. But yeah, that's what I think the future holds for us. Yes, Anastasia screamed in vain. So yeah, we just gotta make it. We gotta keep going, keep doing what we do. I feel like being kind to one another is the biggest way we get through this. Yes, they were so desperate to hold on to power that they worked with Palpatine. What's the line? The more you tighten your grip, Tarkin, the more star systems will slip through your fingers. Yes, this is an extinction. This is an extinction burst. This is 100% an extinction burst. So it is a really rough time that we have to get through, but I think we'll come out on the other side of it. There will be a lot of cleanup. I think that's one of the things that bothers me the most about what's happening in the Empire right now is the amount of long-term damage it is doing to the reputation of the people of Coruscant. Right? Like, other planetary systems of power really hate Coruscant. And I think that it just the amount of like relationship damage that's being done is probably the part that scares me the most, because when the Empire falls, when Palpatine is no longer here, we're gonna need the help of the surrounding star systems to rebuild. And I feel as though we're not gonna get it, because a good chunk of Coruscant voted for Palpatine. So I don't know. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we will recover. Maybe it's gonna suck, but like maybe it'll be better than it was before. Does anybody know how long it took to recover from the French Revolution? How long did that take? I mean, I think about one of the things that like does give me a little bit of hope is Germany. Because if you think about it, in the last even longer than 100 years, but if you think back to like 19 teens, so Germany and World War I, and that whole created a power vacuum, which allowed Mustachio Man to come into power. But if you think, like, we're now 80 years later or whatever, and since like the 90s, so for like the past 30 years, Germany has rebuilt. They did the work, and they rebuilt, and they are far advanced from where they were even 30 years ago when the wall fell. So it gives me a little hope that we will be able to rebuild even with a tarnished reputation, because other countries have done it. Germany did it. They were able to make a comeback. I feel like whereas back then there were a lot more people that were on the side of Mustachio Man than there are on the side of Palpatine. So I feel like we have at least a benefit there that Germany in the 40s did not have. So I guess I like to be a little optimistic about it. I could, like I said, I could be wrong. Hi Victor. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I keep waking up every morning and hoping that today's the day. Hasn't been the day yet, but one day I will be right. I am suffering from a headache that will not go away. And my stomach has been... I've been able to keep the nuggets down. I was not able to keep my actual lunch down, but my dinner has been able to, like, stay down. So there's that. The vibes are off in the universe. I don't know why the vibes are off in the universe, but the vibes are off in the universe. in the Cold War never ended. Huh? No right in the work days in the Cold War never ended. It could be. It could be the semi-glutide. I don't know. It it could be any number of things, right? It could be four things that I can think of right off the top of my head. It could be I have a stomach bug. Probably not that, but it could be that. It could be the semaglutide. Could be the GLP-1. It could be the stress-induced IBS that I was diagnosed with last year that I don't really think is what's happening, but I don't think I have that, but apparently because they couldn't figure out what else was wrong, that's what they label it with. Or it could be that my allergies and the constant temperature changes are causing me to get sick. I don't know. Could be any of those things. Omni, I don't want to switch because I don't know if like you're talking about tirzepatide. I don't know if tirzepatide has the same effects on autoimmune disorders as a semaglutide does. And I don't want to switch. The GLP-1, even with its sucky symptoms, has done a lot to mitigate a lot of my autoimmune disorders, and I really don't want to mess with that. I don't think this is from the semaglutide. I think the headache and the stomach issues are related. I don't know what they are, but it's probably one of those things. So, I would agree with you, Belle. That is definitely true. And they are distorting religion so that they can grab more power, which bothers me. Yeah, so it could be any number of things that's causing the headache and the nausea and the bleh. I mean, like I said, I took a nap. I took like a 2-hour nap when I got done with work. Like, told Mando Dad, I'm not cooking. Bring home dinner. And just hung up the phone, basically. He's like, okay. And then the kids were playing. They were playing. And it was one of those things where I was like, I'm just going to lay down and like sit in the dark and the quiet and try and get my headache to go away. And it's just like, I had no intention of falling asleep. But it was like, oh, hang on, puzzle piece. It was very much like I was just gonna like lay down for a second to try and get the headache to go away, and then I fell asleep for 2 hours. Well, no. Leo is not shaken by that. When it comes to my politics, Tentali, I am a centrist. I mean, I am a true centrist. I am a left-leaning centrist, but I am a centrist. And I used to be more conservative. I've become more liberal over my lifetime. But a lot of it is just because I see the harm that is being done to the people around me, to my friends, to my family, to strangers that I don't even know. But I see the harm that is being enacted at the hands of very evil men that align themselves with a particular side. And I can't stand for that. So when you're standing there and you're looking at the Sith and the Jedi and you're going, well, the Jedi aren't great, but at least they aren't the Sith. And you're you're just like, I'm a Mandalorian. I'm neither good nor evil. I'm just here. So I, that's I seem very like blue-haired liberal, but it's not that. It's for me it's that when you have one side that is doing so much harm, I align myself with the more radicals. But there are some things where I'm kind of like, maybe that isn't such a bad idea. Um, things like universal basic income, I understand its use. I also understand its cons, and I am somewhat indifferent when it comes to things like universal basic income. But I would like to say, yeah, I'm a progressive. I usually like to say I'm a centrist, but like progressive is a good way to put it too. Like I want to just move forward. Like I don't want to return to 50, 60, 80 years ago. I'm not where's the future going? There's a great big beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. Or to quote the Robinsons, keep moving forward. Like that's yeah, I've heard that bell. So I definitely would like, there's changes that I would like to see. I don't know. I I've always been fairly outspoken about my politics because that's the family I grew up in, is that we'd argue about politics just to argue. Like even if like my whole family is very conservative, but when it was like Thanksgiving, like some people in the family would just go and take the other side so they could argue about it for fun. Um yeah, exactly, Thentali. Exactly. Um ooh, see, Omni, for your daughter, um see if she can get on a low dosage of GLP-1. Like I said, I don't know if she can or not, but if she can, that should help with the Hashimoto's. It helped with mine. So, I mean, I did win an argument with a Christian nationalist yesterday. Um because they sent, it was a family member, and they sent me this article, and they're like, would an evil man do this? And it was about Palpatine reading the Book of the Jedi on TV. I'm like, would an evil man do this? And then I pointed out, I was like, well, I mean, if you want me to answer the direct question, yes. Um, it, was it Matthew 4, 5 to 6, and Luke 9, 11 to 12, I think is what it is. I know it's Matthew 4, 5 to 6. Um, in those particular verses, using their own words against them, the devil quotes the scriptures to Jesus. And I said, the yes, I mean, it's right there, like in the book, it's right there. Can an evil man quote the Book of the Jedi? Yes, they can. It's written in the book. It's right there. So, yes, in the grand scheme of things, yes. And then she kind of went, "Oh yeah." So, your argument was invalidated by the fact that I can, again, I started off very conservative. I understand all of their talking points because I was living in that world. I was raised in the evangelical church, and I went I went even farther. I went to Christian school. I studied the Bible along with history and science and math and English. We had to take, it was, our schedule included Bible class first thing every single day. I had to study it. It was just a requirement of school. So when I hear them are like, well, there's nothing in the, yes, there is. It's right there. I can find it. Yeah. And I pointed that out too. I was to my mother, because my mom is not MAGA. My mom is a Reagan Republican. She's a Reagan Republican, but she can't vote for the left, is what she says. And so like there was something that she had said, and I just was like, no, Bible doesn't say that. It says this instead. And she's like, how do you remember that? And I was like, I don't know. I just do. So I don't know. It's a whole lot. Let's just hope with astrology. Let's hope the astrology is correct tomorrow, right? Let's just go with the astrology is correct tomorrow. And we're going to read more Darth Maul tomorrow. No, I have not seen episodes 5 and 6 yet of Maul. Shadow Lord. Need to fix this strap. It's driving me nuts. I've not seen the latest episodes of Maul Shadow Lord. That was... I made it sure. Did I just make it bigger? I just made it bigger. Ah! Don't mind me. It's not like I'm not covered up, but... There we go. But yeah, Maul Shadow Lord. I have not caught up yet. You're a Catholic monarchist. I'm not a monarchist. I believe in a democratic republic. Yeah. Aw, I liked it, Thantali. Never a problem. But anyway, I just got a notification that my phone is about to die. So, I will see you guys tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stay safe out there. Keep a happy, positive attitude. If you're living in a place where it's cold, I hope it's warmer. And for those of us that are feeling a little bit, ugh, I hope we figure out whatever's wrong or whatever planet is making us sick stops doing that. Have a great night, guys. Same thing goes for you guys over on the tube and the... I hope you guys see you guys tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.